As of right now, there are 161 champions in League of Legends. Not only is that 161 champions who all have to have their abilities being balanced, that also accounts for endless team compositions and also virtually endless itemization. And sure, there are still a lot of champions that people don't like, and it feels like every champion has at least one thing that's pretty annoying to play against. Or if it's a champion that's come out in the last couple of years, odds are there's probably quite a few annoying things in their kit. However, despite the seemingly endless brawl people have over which champions are good or bad for the game, there always seems to be one common evil that people point out as bad design. And who is this absolute monstrosity of a being? It's a cat that floats on a book and does magic stuff. However, it's very annoying magic stuff, mind you. This is the story of how Yuumi showed that experimentation can go too far sometimes, as well as why most of the community wants her just straight up removed from the game. And while I'm admittedly more of a dog person myself, let's get into why everyone seemed to have a bone to pick with this cat. I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. I tried to do like some sort of like fish bone joke because Yuumi eats a fish, but it didn't really work, so we'll just roll with that transition. With recent champions, Riot has certainly been pushing limits of different aspects in the game, for better or worse. With Set, they push the limits on how much damage a basic ability can do. With Akshan, they push the limits on the revival mechanic, and with Nilah, they're beginning to push the healing mechanic even further. Even though, you know, like just a few patches ago, they sought to lower healing in the game, but hey, that would make the game enjoyable if Nilah was balanced, and we don't do that here. Yuumi, however, is a unique champion. A very unique champion. Her whole gimmick is to provide heals and shields as well as buffs to one ally at a time while being untargetable for a large majority of the game. But her gameplay has two really big problems to it. Yuumi's first issue is that she ignores the traditional counters to the Enchanter class, and her second issue is, no matter how bad she does on her own, as long as she has an ally that's doing decently well, she can turn them into a 1v9 raid boss. Let's take a look at what I mean when I say she ignores the traditional counters to the Enchanters. In League, each class has champions they beat as well as champions that can beat them. The classic example of what I mean by this is the relationship between Assassin, Tank, and the Marksman classes. And the way they all interact more or less works like a game of rock, paper, scissors. Marksmen get one-shot by Assassins, but also tanks can't really reach the Marksmen. Assassins can one-shot these Marksmen, however they can't kill a tank because they have way too much health for them to just burst through with one combo. And tanks, of course, as previously mentioned, have a really hard time reaching the Marksmen and also don't have the damage to kill them. So now that we kind of understand how classes balance each other out, let's take a look at Yuumi's class, the Enchanters. Enchanters thrive with allies as they rely on them to carry games, and Enchanters will feed them buffs such as heals, shields, etc. However, Enchanters are pretty fragile, and once they're caught out, they're pretty easy to kill. But how can you be caught out if you're always untargetable?
Good question.
You see, Yuumi is also a very fragile enchanter, and if caught out on her own is very, very easy to kill. But the issue is that she's basically always untargetable because she's going to be bound to one of her allies. Riot themselves had said that Yuumi's weakness is her positioning, but you want to know what other champions have to worry about positioning? And it also doesn't really matter if she has 1 health or 10,000 health, because the reality is you're not going to be able to really hit her for a lot of the game. And yes, of course, if the ally is killed that Yuumi's attached to, she pretty much becomes a sitting duck. But the thing is, you've tried killing a 1v9 Viego with a Yuumi on him, that's not happening. Solo queue players have always seen this champ as an issue. Riot themselves have said they've had a very hard time getting her under control. And as for pro players, well, I'll let you see for yourself.
What's the most annoying champion they ever play against?
Yuumi?
Yuumi needs to be gone.
That's a solid one. I was thinking about this one. I think I would just remove Yuumi, yeah.
The champion is just so annoying, and I don't think it should be allowed that you have to press this little buttons in the game and still win. Be like a minimum amount of button presses that Yuumi is for sure under.
You can lose a lane with it by 10 times, but if someone from your like team is fed, whatever like champion it is, Yuumi can just sit on him and you'll just carry the game, right?
I think it's just not a necessary concept of champion in the game. I hate playing with Yuumi, I hate playing against it. It's just healing, and my girlfriend is a Yuumi one-trick almost, so she's gonna hate me for this, but I don't care.
Get that champ out of here.
This is what happens when you've been in hotfixes and patches 28 times in 3 years. Yuumi's whole untargetable gimmick means that kind of regardless of how well she's doing in the game, you can't really punish her for it because she'll just freely be able to give out heals, shields, stats, and as well as an ultimate that roots targets in place. Regardless of her performance in the game, Yuumi gets to basically freely give out stats to the most fed person on the team, which is an issue when the Yuumi, who could quite literally be 0 and 10, gets the free health as well as damage of the most fed person in the game. As I mentioned earlier, the way classes balance each other out is like a game of rock, paper, scissors, but Yuumi's like a lot of the more recent champions that kind of blur those lines. But wrapping up about Yuumi, let's take a quick glance at her infamous gameplay. That's right, the same gameplay that Riot has said is as hard as Akali and Qiyana's. Now I want you to watch this clip and be amazed by the difficulty of what Riot has deemed one of the harder champions in the game. Really glad Yuumi had to worry about positioning there, like every other enchanter and champion in the game. Please let me know what your thoughts on Yuumi are down in the comments below, as well as address any issues or maybe things I missed. Or you can join my Twitch chat and let me know there while I'm live. With that being said, I truly appreciate you guys sticking till the end of this video, and of course I have 2 videos coming up here in just a moment for you to enjoy as well. So I think that's all I got for you. Have a great rest of your day or night, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Later!